Before we get into this video, let me put out a tiny little disclaimer because some of you get way too emotional over some boys kissing. This is BL, not international politics. I'm not slapping your ancestors with my opinions. I'm just talking about a bunch of Thai men in love based on my taste. If your taste doesn't match mine, that's okay. The world needs background characters too. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt and feel free to drop your counter opinions in the comments. For anyone new who has somehow stumbled into my chaotic BL corner, hi, welcome, sit down. As a professional BL watcher with way too many hours invested, here's what I care about. Strong production quality, actual acting and not just pretty faces, real chemistry and most importantly, plots that feel mature and at least somewhat realistic. I do love my fantasy and unhinged storylines too, but only if they don't come with clown sound effects, filler scenes that exist for vibes only, and grown actors behaving like feral kindergartners, pulling ugly faces every 5 minutes. This ranking of the GMMTV 2026 BL lineup is completely biased, entirely personal, and absolutely driven by my preferences. So, yes, you're allowed to disagree, you're just not allowed to be annoying about it. Right now, pause this video and comment what you think my number 1 BL from GMMTV lineup is. And if you guess correctly, you get a virtual chocolate and my eternal respect. Also, I'm skipping detailed synopsis because if you want plot summaries, GMMTV already posted trailers and there's Google too. I'm here to give you opinions, chaos, and vibes, not a 3-hour audiobook. Okay, now that we've cleared that up, let's get into ranking the lineup. Arrest and Action is clearly Sky Nani cashing in on their real life dynamic and fandom power. But the trailer just did not land for this tired, mature BL brain. The whole thing feels less like a story and more like the production teasing shippers with a long inside joke. Especially when the promo leans on fan service moments and the BL but actually bromance label. There is nothing wrong with bromance as a genre, and Sky and Hani obviously have chemistry for days. But they are genuinely capable of something so much better than this bargain bin action comedy vibe. Instead of giving them a tight, character-driven narrative, the project plays around with self-referential BL gags, undercover cop antics, and wink-wink scenes that feel like they're trolling fans who just want a proper romance. For a professional BL watcher who loves good production, strong acting, and plots with some emotional spine, this type of loud, gimmicky comedy is just not it. Not these geriatric men putting on school uniforms again like the rent is due. Why are we casting almost 30-year-olds as high schoolers in 2026 when there are a million rookie actors desperate for work? Even Keen, who are still relatively young, don't look right to me here, especially after we just saw them as university students in Head-to-Head and other projects. De-aging them back to high school feels like a downgrade instead of an evolution. And that already kills half my interest. Ignoring the age issue, the plot itself doesn't look particularly fresh or exciting from the trailer. It's giving generic bullied nerd setup with nothing that hooks a mature viewer. On top of that, C's line delivery in the teaser comes off really flat and monotone, which makes it hard to buy him as a neurodivergent, deeply bullied high school with layers and nuance. From what's been shown so far, it doesn't feel like the role is playing to his strengths. So this one is naturally sliding down toward the lower end of my ranking. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, if revamp was melatonin, this Born Prem BL looks like a medically induced coma. The trailer was unbearably dull, and on top of that, Thailand clearly has a ghost addiction this year. Every other BL has some random paranormal twist, like they know the leads might bore us to death, so they throw in spirits as enrichment activities. The whole haunted house petty revenge setup could be fun, but here it just feels forced and gimmicky. Neo being relegated to what looks like another side and filler role is extra annoying when he clearly deserves a proper lead role by now. Between the cheap-looking costumes, corny background music, and zero spark between Bone Prim in the trailer, This is firmly going on the back burner for a so bored I'll try anything day. Look at barcode bagging roles left, right, and center with this guy keen like he's some grand prize. Not only did he get his own solo series, he also snatched a second couple slot while half the roster is jobless. Be serious! This series screams for the kids, and that's fine because the target audience is clearly not me. So I'm not going to drag it for being young and fluffy. But what I will say is this: Barcode has never looked this cringe to me before, and whoever directed him to act like a hyperactive TikTok filter needs to be stopped. Unlucky Bay is giving classic GMMTV starter pack. Cute boys, bad luck curse, and of course a mandatory superstition gimmick because apparently no one in this company can fall in love without help from ghosts, gods, or cursed objects. The premise of a curse meant for an ex accidentally hitting the wrong guy is mildly okay, but beyond that, the trailer doesn't offer anything that feels fresh. The only real selling point for me is that the main pairing is new and age appropriate, so at least no one is recreating past scandals, if you know what I mean. Still, strip away the spiritual seasoning and it just looks like a watered down together style rom-com with a luck gimmick stapled on. So it's going in my might try zero expectations pile. Roommate Chaos feels like GMMTV tossing Mark Puckin into yet another generic Uni-BL blender with extra couples as garnish. He genuinely deserves a stronger, more focused project, but it also makes sense they didn't risk another Marcom solo after their last BL underperformed. On the bright side, Surf and Java are always fun to watch, and Save Frank as an extra pairing is not a deal breaker. So this is absolutely something that will get played in the background while food is being eaten. But does the trailer ignite even a tiny spark of anticipation? Absolutely not. Look everyone, the Temu version of Bad Buddy just dropped. Matchpoint is literally Tisho and Ping cosplaying as Om and Nanon with a badminton net between them. Only without the acting chops or the emotional nuance that made Bad Buddy iconic. The sports BL angle has potential, but right now it feels more like the off-brand nostalgia bait than its own thing. Ping's acting has never worked for me. He always leans into this one brain cell himbo, and the thought of sitting through a whole series of that is absolutely a choice. That said, Tisho and Ping do not look bad together visually, and because the enemies to lovers vibe is a tired and true weakness of mine, this will probably get a reluctant chance from me, just with expectations firmly on the floor. The BL gods are absolutely clowning me personally with this one. As a loud, certified Oboom truther who has been begging for their solo BL, this feels like winning the war only to get handed the most generic office rom-com script in the catalog. Rich boss, struggling employee, contract setup, bike aesthetic, and both of them slathered in 10 kilos of makeup, playing roles they could do in their sleep. It genuinely gives fine, take your solo series but you'll eat plain rice energy. Like someone greenlit the project out of obligation and then chose the safest, most one-dimensional plot possible out of pettiness. Of course, this is still getting watched because Oboom finally leading is historic behavior, but this is not the fun, layered, slightly unhinged story fans imagined manifesting for years. It's like GMMTV genuinely believes Vinny Sarang's only purpose is to film light, glossy BLs with maximum skinship and minimum brain cells. This had the potential to be a fun, campy mafia romance, but the trailer plays like a sanitized cosplay of danger with zero real edge, and not a single joke actually landed. The only thing remotely spicy here is the friends with benefits and hired boyfriend angle, but even that is buried under yet another fake dating setup dressed in mafia drag. Between the styling and the vibe, Vinny Sarang basically looked like they walked straight out of that summer's wardrobe department and into a slightly rearranged script, and boredom is already knocking at my door. This series feels like a mashup of every Jungdung dynamic GMMTV has already done, just repackaged with suits and an office set. Nothing in the trailer hints at pushing them as actors. It's the same familiar banter, same power imbalance, same safe comedy beats, now with a CEO title slapped on top. What's frustrating is knowing Jung has the range to do much more interesting plots, layered roles, yet he keeps getting handed copy-paste romance plots that anyone could play. This exact storyline has at least 10 cousins in BL land already. So yes, the Jung loyalty will win and I will watch it, but absolutely not with any sort of joy. It's absolutely my fault that I let my clownery jump out the second I saw Nui in the opening shot, only for my excitement to die in real time when I realized this is yet another rebirth time travel plot. They clearly saw how well Reset did this year and said, let's do our own AliExpress version but make it Luke Meg. I don't mind Luke Meg at all, but let's be serious. You saw that it's directed by New Savage, right? Please lower your expectations to ground level and then keep digging just to be safe. I genuinely think GMMTV has serious beef with Earthmix fans at this point. Because why do they keep giving them shows like Osan's Love and now Cupid's Ghost when they are clearly capable of so much more? They both have the face, the presence, and the acting chops to carry a darker, more mature BL. Give them a gangster story, an action drama, something with real stakes, not another fluffy ghost rom-com. They're fully aged out of these silly chaotic rom-com setups and proven with projects like Moonlight Chicken that they shine in grounded, realistic stories with emotional depth. Instead, GMMTV looked at the criticism from Osan's Love and said, great, let's do another supernatural comedy and hope their chemistry saves it again. Now, what is the difference between this and the 10 other Ghost BLs rotting in the same lineup? Is the same recycled Ghost helps boys fall in love formula copy-pasted again because apparently no one in that writer's room has any new ideas left. At this point, it feels like less storytelling and more like Thailand is in a long-term relationship with the spirit world and every couple needs supernatural third wheeling by contract. If you're that obsessed with ghosts, do something ambitious and terrifying on the level of Kim Jira. Not another $2 horror rom-com with jump scares and vibes only. As a Christ Singto fan, this trailer was so heartbreaking for me. For a reunion this big, the story they are teasing feels slow, safe, and honestly a bit of a snooze fest, just like what happened with X Morning, where the script never matched their star power. The only reason Write You Again sits this high on my list is pure faith in their acting and chemistry. Because if anyone can drag emotion out of a lukewarm, memory-loss nostalgia script, it's them. Still, it is frustrating watching rookies get fresher, riskier plots while the pair who literally put GMMTV BL on the international map are given yet another soft, underwhelming drama. Almond Progress are back again with When Oranges Fall and the trailer is honestly quite cute. But it also feels like Lovesick with a fresh coat of paint. The characters and dynamic look almost copy-pasted, so there is nothing here that feels like a new take on the school BL formula. They're still so young that another school setting makes sense, but it would have been nice if the theme or conflict was at least a little bit different instead of pure nostalgia recycling. That said, Almond Progress are an adorable BL couple and there is comfort in knowing that at the very least, this will be sweet, soft and easy to watch. Once again, Jimmy is playing the righteous older guy protecting C, only this time he's a cop and C has a working eyesight and no prophecy powers. So growth, apparently. The dynamic feels so copy-paste from their previous roles that halfway through the trailer it was hard to remember what actually makes this story different beyond the job titles. It would have been so much more fun to flip the casting and let C be the police officer for once. But GMMTV clearly panics at anything even mildly outside the formula. This sits at number 9 purely because at the very least it is an adult BL with no ghost, no magic and no high school in sight, which is already a win in this lineup. Please BL gods, please release Junior from the shackles of endless fluffy rom-coms. A Nadao graduate being fed these lightweight, noisy BL scripts while everyone else and their grandmother gets a solo media project is actually insane, especially when Junior Mark still haven't been given their own proper BL yet. This lands at number 8 purely because the trailer at least shows Junior crying, which hints at real angst instead of just elephant sound effects and bad punchlines for 12 episodes. People are thrilled about Nud and Hong getting a BL together, but their presence does absolutely nothing for the personal excitement meter for me. The fact that Tae are being used for yet another loud ensemble comedy instead of a proper mature BL feels like a slap in the face to those of us still rewatching their Kiss Me Again cuts on YouTube like it's a ritual. Them, along with Joss Gavin and Pon Fu Win, are all strong enough to be leading their own separate series. Yet here they are crammed into one project instead of getting three solid focused BL dramas. Tae and Joss Gavin have already proven they can absolutely carry darker, more serious stories in things like Dark Blue Kiss and The Player. So it is baffling to see them back in a chaotic comedy sandbox. Pon Fu Win, who are treated like GMMTV's cash cow couple, also feel weirdly shortchanged here. Even if their chemistry does nothing for me personally, their fandom is massive and deserved something more substantial than sharing space in an overcrowded premise. Even though Chokun Aston are not my personal favorites, the 17th Spring trailer actually felt promising because it finally offers a grounded, realistic story about young people living with HIV instead of another gimmicky setup. It has all the ingredients of a gentle, healing slice of life BL rather than a cringe circus, and even Pond and Papunk's chemistry looks surprisingly convincing here after the chaos that was BOYSLOVE. Finding out New Savage is directing instantly lowered my expectations because his trademark style leans hard into goofy faces, tonal whiplash, and noisy comedy that this subject absolutely does not need. Hopefully, for once, the production resists the urge to drown a sensitive storyline in sound effects and mugging, and treats the HIV focus with the quiet, mature handling it deserves. I was so excited for Mr. Kill because I genuinely loved the trailer right up until I found out it's officially labeled as bromance for Duente. I'm really hoping that they're just testing the waters with this and not planning to pull a Sky Nani on us with 3 back-to-back bromance projects instead of committing to a real BL. I love crime thrillers with a romantic edge, so the whole cop plus manga artist whose drawings predict real crime setup is exactly my thing. And Dio personally drawing the manga scenes used in the trailer is such a cool detail. I'm honestly looking forward to this one, and bromance label or not, it has serious potential to be great if they lean into the tension properly. Even if William East just sat on screen and talked for 10 hours, I would still lap it up because their chemistry is that powerful. The kiss in this trailer has me in a chokehold, but if I'm being honest, the actual premise is not very imaginative, and I'm mostly excited because it is William East. What I do not like is Barcode and Kin as the second couple here. They feel too new and too inexperienced as a pairing for this kind of messy red flag romance concept. We've barely seen them in anything, and they are already sharing a project with William East, when someone like Mondrian or Junior Mark would have fit the tone so much better in my opinion. But regardless, I will absolutely be watching. I am ridiculously excited for this one because the trailer is exactly my flavor. Gritty, dramatic, and unapologetically messy. First book finally look like they are in a mature, high-stakes story that actually matches their age and energy. And Great Bride are serving so hard in every frame they appear in. The action scenes even look surprisingly realistic and cinematic, which makes me genuinely curious about who is directing this because it does not look like a usual GMMTV BL at all. If they keep this level of intensity and visual polish for the full series, then Lovers and Gangsters could easily become one of the standouts of this entire lineup for me. The trailer for The Invisible Dragon hit all the right nostalgic notes for me, because the atmosphere and emotional tone instantly reminded me of Moonlight Chicken in the best way. It also feels genuinely fresh, a story rooted in traditional dragon dance, class difference, and quiet longing, rather than yet another gimmicky fantasy or ghost plot. First Cow, Namtan, and Bright are all absolute aces, and just from the teaser it is clear that it is going to lean into their strengths with angst, tenderness, and beautiful cultural visuals. Everything about it looks exactly like my vibe, so this is one of the shows I'm most impatient to watch. I'm so glad that after 10 years, GMMTV is finally recognizing Afghan's power and strengths as a couple with something as dark and ambitious as Gunshot. From the trailer alone, Gun's visuals and acting are absolutely insane, and it was more than enough to make me throw all my anticipation behind the series. It gives me the same electric excitement I felt watching Not Me back in 2022, with that mix of moral ambiguity, violence, and messed up emotions that Off can excel at. The trailer already stole my heart. Off is looking unnecessarily hot, and I'm fully seated and ready to let the show ruin me in the best possible way. And that's my complete, unhinged, utterly biased ranking of GMM 2026 BL lineup. If you made it this far, you are legally part of the Chaos Club now. So, welcome! And before you run to the comments to defend your favorites, tell me which series are you most excited for and which one are you already pretending doesn't exist. Drop your own ranking or at least your top 3 and bottom 3. I want to see how wrong you all are compared to me. Hit like so YouTube knows you also hate unnecessary ghost plots. Subscribe if you want to watch more BL survival guides, rants, and trailer autopsies. And I'll see you all soon with another video. Bye, lovelies.